If they want to leave, they can leave.
Get the out of my country.
He start arguing, why you came here and invade my country? Why you came here illegally?
We'll send him back home to Kenya.
Today, the Huffington Post released a long and detailed article in which they explore, and I quote, the moral emergency of hate in the Trump era. From hate crimes in the street to chants at rallies, there is no shortage of incidents where people have been told to, quote, go back to where they came from. This country has a long and painful history of this same rhetoric. If you look back at 1957, a horde of people stood outside a recently integrated Arkansas school and yelled, go back to Africa. After John Carlos and Tommy Smith raised their fists in protest, they received the same feedback that Colin Kaepernick received when he knelt in 2016. Go back to where you came from.
Maybe you should find a country that works better for him. Let him try.
This is not new, but what it is rising. Don't take my word for it. Read about it for yourself. In their study, they partnered with ProPublica in the launch of a program called Documenting Hate, a database of tips that takes a closer look at hate crimes in response to the rather lackadaisical approach the US seems to have in dealing with and keeping track of hate crimes. HuffPo swiftly focused on cases where an assailant reiterated the phrase, go back to where you came from. And their findings were simply remarkable. Of those surveyed, they found 115 of the perpetrators said, go back to your country. 117 chose, go back to Mexico. 59 selected, go back to Africa. 21 opted for, go back to China. And 19 said, get out of my country. Muslims were the most targeted religious group of those surveyed, with Islamophobia motivating 120 of the hate incidents. And of the perpetrators whose race was known, 90% of them were white. Of perpetrators whose gender was known, 75% were men. And a staggering 20% of the perpetrators, while targeting their victims, invoked Trump's name or his campaign slogans. Now, what would this mean to those who unequivocally support the president, regardless of what has been so clearly laid out in front of them or chanted at his rallies? Probably not a lot. But per FBI statistics that corroborate a rise in hate crimes since 2016, one can't help but draw a through line. In one example, a 39-year-old woman from Maryland was able to articulate the lasting effects of being on the receiving end of this hate. And she described it with such a profound depth that one simply can't help but be deeply impacted by it. She recalls being at a red light when two men verbally abused her. And she remembers these men as, quote, thieves, saying they stole my sense of peace in this country. It stole my sense of belonging. And that's what this phrase is meant to do. To isolate those on the receiving end as not belonging, as intruding on something that isn't theirs. It's long since been a tactic of white supremacy. And while phrases as such may be on the rise, the results these people seek are actually on the decline. Every day we see more representation of an America that stands for all, both in office and out. While this administration may have emboldened bigots, it's also inspired a movement against this hate, one that continues to be active and has seen many stand with those who have been targeted. And this movement, as history shows, will be the one that prevails. Never missed another breakdown video by ringing the bell below. You'll get notified whenever we publish something new. And don't forget to join TYT today. Download our TYT Plus app on your phone or head over to tyt.com/join.